Uh, Good morning. How are you? I hope you are doing well. I am doing well today. Today, I want us to look at another different topic. I want us to look at measurement. And in measurement, I want us to focus on various areas. In the first section of measurement, I want us to focus on circumference, arc length, and sector. I want us to talk about the circumference, the arc length, and the sector. So in this area, I want us to start with the circumference. I want us to start with the circumference where we have to remind ourselves that in our previous grades, from grade 7, now we are in grade 8, and in class 7, in class 8, and as we head to other grades, as we advance in these grades, you realize that we normally base our discussions from previous topics. Now, in this case, we're talking about circumference, where we say that circumference is the distance all around. Circumference, it is distance all around. We say circumference is a distance all around. Then from here, we know that the circumference circle from the word circumference comes from the word circle, meaning in this case we are talking about something circular. When you talk about circumference, you talk about something circular that way. This is a circle. So if we talk about circumference, we are talking about now the distance around this circle. And you remember in our previous grade we discussed about uh, concepts such as diameter. We discussed concepts such as diameter. Discussed concepts such as diameter. Then we talked about radius. Talked about radius. Talked about radius. And when we talk about diameter, is the distance or the distance from this point, call it point A, is point B. The distance from point A to point B is the diameter. Then the half of this one is the radius. So diameter is given by diameter is the distance AB. Diameter is this distance from A to B. Then the radius is distance A to O. The radius is distance A to O. Then from there, when you are talking about circumference, the formula for getting the circumference, formula for circumference is given by where pi is given by normally 22 all over 7 or 3.14 or 3.142 to be precise, or 3.142. So to get the circumference will be given by pi multiplied by diameter, which is supposed to be 22 all over 7 multiplied by the diameter, or 22 all over 7 multiplied by 2r, or 2 multiplied by the radius. R stands for the radius. Now let us talk about an example here. Let's talk about an example where we want to talk about or give an example of circumference. We want to give an example of circumference where we have example 1. When you talk about the circumference, example 1, we have a circle. We have a circle here that has a diameter of 18 centimeters. We have a circle here that has a diameter of 18 centimeters. So to get the area, or to get the circumference, here we will use pi. But now the choice of pi sometimes keeps on changing. We have two options where we have 22 over 7 and 3.142. Why do they keep on changing? Because sometimes when you look at the diameter, it might be easy to be simplified by 7, or if not, especially this one is not a multiple of 7, that one becomes quite difficult. So instead, we use the other pi. Both of them are the same because if you divide 22 by 7, you get 3.142. Now, the circumference in this case is given by pi d, which is 3.142. In this case, because 18 is not a multiple of 7, 18 is not a multiple of 7, I will use this pi multiplied by 18. That way you are going to get the circumference of that circle. Then I hope you are a good student. You are able to get this one. You can choose to multiply directly, where you can multiply this number by 18, or maybe you use a calculator, because nowadays from grade 7 I hear that they allow you to use calculators from grade 7 all the way to form 4. Now we have another example. We have an example 2. We have example 2 where we are talking about a circle, sorry, that has a diameter of 21 centimeters. A circle that has a diameter of 21 centimeters. A circle with a diameter of 21 centimeters. In this case, we are going to use pi as 22 over 7 because this is a multiple of 7. So we are going to say circumference is going to be given by pi d, where we are saying pi. Now in this case, because this one is a multiple of 7, we will choose pi as 22 over 7. So in this case, we are going to have pi d, which is 21. 7 divided by 22 divided by 7 is 1. 22 divided by, 22 over 7 times 21. 21 divided by 7, 1 by 7, 3. So in this case, you are going to have 22 multiplied by 3, which adds up to 66 centimeters. And that is the circumference. Then we might have another example. Where we have a circle. With a radius of 10.5. Let us get the circumference of this circle. I hope you are following so that we can wrap this part. So here, allow me to wrap that part. So we are talking about this circle which has a radius of 10.5. So in this case, we are going to say that it is also going to be given by pi. Remember, radius equals to a half of diameter. Radius is equals to a half of the diameter. Which means if you have the radius, if you want to get the diameter, you can multiply by 2. So you can say circumference will be given by 22 all over 7 times diameter, where d is 10.5 multiplied by 2, where now our new d is going to be 21 centimeters. Then from there, we are going to have 22 all over 7. We are going to have 22 all over 7 multiplied again by 21 centimeters. Sorry, we don't need to put the there. So divide by 21 divided by 7 is 1. This one is 3 again, 66 centimeters. Again, not necessarily do you need to use the diameter direct. You can just come here and say circumference in this case, sorry, my pen is misbehaving. Circumference in this case will be given by pi times 2r times 2r, which means it is a radius multiplied by 2. So instead of multiplying it directly here, you can come here and say pi, which is 22 over 7 times 2 times the radius, which is 10.5. Then from here, you can work it out directly, where you're going to have this one multiplied by 2 to give you 21. Then you divide. Again, you are going to have 66 centimeter. That one is just but a reminder of what you dealt with in the previous grade. Now, I want us to continue with our current, which is supposed to be the current discussion. But before we go there, there is another example here. We have a bicycle wheel. We have an example here where we have a bicycle wheel. Allow me to wrap this part. We have a bicycle wheel with a radius of 35 centimeters. Let me wrap this one. My board is so big such that now I have to keep on wrapping. We are saying a bicycle wheel has a radius of 35 centimeters. A bicycle wheel has a radius of 35 centimeters. Bicycle wheel is circular. A bicycle wheel is circular. A bicycle wheel is circular and has a radius of 35 centimeters. That bicycle wheel has a radius of 35 centimeters. You will forgive my circles. Now, mimi and drawing a little bit tunaheshimiana kidogo using freehand, so you will have to work with the way they are and just know it's a good perfect circle. Now this one is 35 centimeters. How many meters does the wheel cover after making 500 revolutions? Here we have a bicycle wheel which has a radius of 35 centimeters, and we are asked how many meters does it make after making 500 revolutions. 500 revolutions. So first of all, when we get the circumference, we are going to get like the distance that is covered by one revolution. When it revolves that way, what distance does it cover? What distance does it cover? So we get the circumference where we are going to have pi. We are going to have pi as 22 all over 7 multiplied by diameter, which is 35, multiplied by 2, where we are going to have 22 all over 7 multiplied by 70 by 7 1 by 7 10. So we are going to have 210 centimeters. So the circumference is given by 220 centimeters. But the question is, how many meters does it make in one, or does it cover in one revolution? So we are going to convert this one to meters. We know that 1 meter is equivalent to 100 centimeters. 1 meter is equivalent to 100 centimeters. 1 meter is equivalent to 100 centimeters. I hope you can refer from measurement. Then what about 200 centimeters? What about 200 centimeters? So 220, so we do cross multiplication where we are going to have 220 multiplied by 1 divided by 100. We cancel that way. So we are going to have 2.2 meters in one revolution. It means that wheel makes 2.2 meters in one revolution. That is how we get the distance in meters. that is made in one revolution. Then from there we are asked, what is the distance or how many meters does the wheel cover or does the bicycle cover after making 500 revolutions? After making 500 revolutions. So one revolution is making 2.2 meters. What about 500 revolutions? 500 revolutions now is going to be 500 multiplied by 2.2, where we are going to have, you can even choose to take 22 multiplied by 5 to have 10, 31, 10, 11. Then from there we have one decimal point, in this case 1, which is 11. 11 multiplied by this 100 that we had not included here, you're going to have 1100 meters. 1,100 meters. 1,100 meters. That is the distance it covers. Now, in the next section, I want us to talk about the arc length. The next section, now that we have reminded ourselves about circumference, I want us to talk about the arc length. I want us to talk about the arc length that forms the next lesson's discussion. That forms the next lesson's discussions where we are talking about the arc length. The arc length that forms our second discussion. So stay tuned as we go to the next discussion in the next coming video. I hope you can be able to remind yourself or to remember. And if you can't remember, if you don't have previous knowledge, you can use the current knowledge, or you can use what I have just shared under circumference, so that you can be able to move with us in the same or at the same pace. Thank you very much. Now follow for the next class where we are talking about the arc length. Then from the arc length we will talk about the sector. From the arc length we talk about the sector. Thank you very much.